What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the channel for another episode of our MLB the Show 23 draft-only franchise here with the Birmingham Barons. We're 27-23, doing pretty well, but we've still got a lot of season to go. This will also be the final episode before the MLB draft that will be coming out on Friday, so we will be drafting here very shortly. Before we get into the gameplay today, though, I just wanted to show what we were doing here with training. Basically, anyone with just C potential, or D, I guess, we're just keeping on auto, but the guys with B and A potential, I am doing myself in terms of taking their training off of auto and putting it on the things that I want them to develop. So we got all these guys. Blake Boyer out here trying to make him a better fielder at shortstop. Training. Something that I often forget about in MLB the Show 23, honestly. I don't know how much of an impact it honestly makes, but we are going to go ahead and manually train those guys just in case. It does make a good difference. So the Smokies are one game ahead of us at this point in the season. The first half of the year is about to be over. In this episode, full count for Carl McIntyre to lead off the game. He gets a hold of this one. He'll get on base. So we'll get the man aboard top of the first. Full count again. This time Marty Dempsey up to the plate, hitting just under 300. This one's going to find the gap. Maybe that one brings him to 300 on the season for hitting. First two hitters aboard brings up Alden Evans. Lifts this one. Short left field. That play is made, so the first out acquired by the Smokies, trying to keep our man in scoring position from crossing home plates. This is going to be a wild pitch that should advance. Carl McIntyre, he is in safe. So now we've got a man just 90 feet away for Leandro Velasquez, and he drive the runner in. Pretty close play, even with all of Carl McIntyre's speed there, to be honest. Runners on the corners. Velasquez will walk, loading up the bases for Elvis Rivas, who is, of course, playing in place of Jason Gill. He was going to get this one out. We will not tag up because it was so short. Benito Vasquez strikes out, so with the bases loaded, can't bring anybody home. Very unfortunate way there to end the first. Daniel Driver will get the start for us today. In terms of how I view him long term, he just has his stamina in the 60s, which makes me question his ability to be a long-term starter. Maybe, in that long relief role is kind of where I see him fitting best. But I mean, for now, he throws with a lot of gas. Got a 98-mile-an-hour fastball here. With one out, he will allow another base runner now. So runners on the corners for the Smokies, bring up Kevin Alcantara. Kevin Wiseman. Excuse me, he'll strike out at the high fastball, hitting that said 98 miles an hour. Spencer Henson up to the plate. He's going to pop out. So much like we did, the Smokies are going to strand some runners in scoring position in the first inning. Jeff Melvin will strike out to start us off in the second, bringing up Kevin Sandoval. This one is lifted to left field. Looks like the play should be easily made. First two outs acquired. Chad Pollock has a full count. Swings at the fastball. Very nicely located there by Tyler. So we'll go 2 scoreless innings to start us off, and then Daniel Driver back on the mound gets a swing and a miss for the strikeout. Bringing up Preciado. He lifts this one to center field. Carl McIntyre has a beat on it. Makes the grab. So now 2 outs acquired here for the Barons. This one is going to just get past Pollock, and then the diving Vasquez. Valerio will reach first. 2 outs. Pollock. This one can't quite drop. Elvis Rivas will end the inning. So hits in both the innings there for the Smokies. Just couldn't quite get anybody across. McIntyre back up is going to put this one into foul territory. That's caught. Not very pleased with himself. To be fair, we're not very pleased with him either. Not really pleased with anybody, as we're just not getting on base. That will continue here with Marty Dempsey. Alan Evans, he's, really good contact hitter. Can he get on base? No, he can't. That line out will be right to first base. Top of the order for the Smokies. Penango will be striking out, looking there on that fastball, clipping the outside edge. Owen Casey is going at that very high fastball. Not his best swing there. Tried to check, I just couldn't quite get it done. Kevin Alcantara, though, will give the Smokies a man on base for the 3rd straight inning. Unfortunately for them, they have been waiting until there's 2 outs to start getting men on base, which results in them stranding guys quite often. Velasquez, short right field. That little pop out will be caught. So another man retired here for the Barons. You have the best contact in all of AA, but it is not showing up in this game, and it will not show up here with Rivas. Just seems like one of those games where nothing we're doing is working. Line out there to first base once again. Almost got it past the glove there to get on base, but we haven't had anybody on base since the 1st inning. Henson back up to the plates. Will finally get somebody on base for the Smokies prior to getting 2 outs. So can they get their first run across the board? Won't come from the catcher Amaya, as he's swinging at the slider outside of the zone. Preciado, this one is low and outside, but he gets a decent hold of it. Still Leandro Velasquez able to range over to make the play. 8th spot now up. 1-2 pitch. That one is a generous call from the umpire, but we're able to keep this score knotted at 0. Heading into the 5th. Melvin tries to get this one down the first base line, but making a lot of plays over there at first base. Kind of these borderline, maybe potential, could have been hits. Sandoval. This one's lifted to center field. Diving play made by Kevin Alcantara. I thought for sure that was going to be a hit. But a play so nice, you gotta see it twice. Kevin Alcantara, full extension diving play made in center field. Wow. Gonna rob Kevin Sandoval of a nice hit. Maybe even a extra base hit had he missed with that dive. So we're going to go through a 5th scoreless inning for our offense. Can we also force a 5th scoreless inning for the Smokies there? We'll get that first out. Flipping the order over for Tennessee. 3-1 pitch coming up. That one is popped out. Foul territory. Kevin Sandoval's got a track on it. He snags it. 2 outs now. This game is not the most exciting if you're looking for offense, I will admit. And normally with a game with not a lot of offense, we would for sure grab a second game for the episode, but this is the last episode prior to the draft, and so I want to spend a lot of time going over my favorite players for the upcoming draft. And so we'll only be watching one game, no matter how little offense there is. Carl McIntyre up to the plate for the third time. We'll get his second hit. This one will be a double. So we've got a leadoff man in scoring position. We got to be able to get this home. Marty Dempsey gets this one to drop. That should be enough for Carl McIntyre to round home plate. And a fumble of the relay there will make it not even competitive. Marty Dempsey will drive in the first run for either side. It only took 5 innings to get there. Alden Evans will look at that as Amayo throws out yet another one of our runners. If I'm the guy out there choosing whether to send my runners or not, I'd stop sending them against the Smokies. Amaya consistently throws us out, it feels like. He's been doing quite well at catcher there. Leandro Velasquez gets that one to stay in the field, and so he'll have extra bases. So opportunity to drive in a second runner in this inning. He's going for third. He is safe. Felt like a little bit of an unnecessary risk there, but now I guess even easier to drive him home, but Rivas cannot get it done. Swing and miss. A very nicely located slider there. Alcantara will walk again for the Smokies. He's reached now 3 times. Oh, look, that was a little bit of weird physics on that one for the 3-6-3 double play. I want to watch it again because Pollock here, he makes the catch, the throw. All of his momentum's going backwards, but as soon as the ball leaves his hand, all momentum stops and he gets back on first base. So that makes sense for sure. Spencer Henson will fly out to Velasquez. And so the Smokies will not be able to knot it back up. Brad Wake will enter the game for the Smokies in the 7th. And Vasquez will fly out to center to start the inning off. Melvin gets this one to touch grass. So he's got himself a single. Kevin Sandoval has definitely shown us some nice moments. Should have had a hit earlier this episode. This one's back to Alcantara again. Robbed, Sandoval of his hit the last time around. This one a more routine play. Chad Pollock, 9-hitter now, 1-2 pitch. Swings and misses at the high fastball. Score will remain 1-0. Amaya up to the plate. He looks at the low fastball. Luke McCann now in the game for the Barons. 1-2 pitch now to Preciado. He gets underneath this one. Benito Vasquez just kind of waits for that one to drop. It took a while as he got well underneath it. Valerio. This one's hit quite well. Can Elvis Rivas find it? He can indeed. Another quiet inning for the Smokies. The pitching has been great. And when they have gotten a hold of the pitches, it's gone to our outfielders. And we've had games like that ourselves, so I can definitely feel for the Smokies in this one. First out there, ranging over into foul territory. Marty Dempsey also flies out. We're doing a little bit of that in this same inning when we're getting some good contact, just not locating where they need to go, getting a little underneath them as well. Alden Evans reaches with a walk. Angel Velasquez got the first home run of the series last game. I guess last episode, not last game per se, but he looks at a curveball low in the zone for strike 3. Chad Wallach. He will smoke this one up the middle for a grounder single to lead off the 8th. We'll also get the top of the order of the Smokies back up. Melvin can get this one to Vasquez for the first out. No throw made for the attempt at the double play as he was already well safe. Owen Casey, that is quite the ugly swing there. Forced by David Ryan. Pollock diving. Gets the throw to David Ryan, but Kevin Alcantara beats him. So that's fourth time in this game that Alcantara has reached base. Despite the Smokies not scoring a single run, he has been excellent. Kevin Wiseman rips this one into left field, and it looks like the Smokies will score their first run. Can they get a second? They can indeed. That will be a 2 RBI double. And all of a sudden, the Smokies are now leading. We get that third out on Spencer Henson here. But now we need to overcome a 1-run deficit, something we've been trying to protect for the last couple of innings now. Elvis Rivas not going to get us started well there. Going to go through kind of the bottom half of this order to try to get it, but a second straight out is acquired. Jeff Melvin now required to try to keep this game alive. This will be a fly out to right field. The Smokies will pick up the win and extend their lead atop the division by 1 more game. Ugh, can't believe I got to see that Kevin Alcantara play again. But let's go ahead and finally get to my favorite part of this episode, and that will be the draft preview. I now have a little bit more of a fleshed out board than I did last time around. The link to that big board is in the description of this video. My favorite prospect in this class and my favorite to go number 1 overall is Alberto Rincon. We're ranked very highly in a lot of areas in the AA. One thing we are not is power, and Alberto Rincon definitely brings that better than anyone I think in this draft class. He also happens to bring contact and plate skills. He just isn't a fielder. If we want somebody with more of a two-way impact, I show you Ray McCallum, who has, a build similar to what we've seen. We see good contact, vision, discipline, and solid spots as well. Also a really good fielder and a shortstop who can be the level of fielder that can be our long-term shortstop is certainly on my list of needs. And so getting a guy who can be an asset for us both offensively and defensively is certainly a good challenger to Alberto Rincon. So let me know what you would do. Would you rather have the two-way impact of Ray McCallum, but maybe just have another, contact bat when that's something we definitely have no shortage of supply. Manny Rincon is also an option here. I'm very curious to see what that walks per 9 is going to be for him. It's going to be crazy high. I just kind of like the two position players more, particularly because I like pitcher with our second round pick quite a lot. My favorite for that second round pick would be Esteban Acevedo. Very, very borderline whether or not he'll be there. His MLB draft rank is right around where our second round pick is. And so chances are he won't be there, but velocity and break, holy. Is there a better pitching prospect I've seen in this entire game at those two? Somebody that's maybe a little bit more realistic. Also, our scout's favorite player in this entire class would be Steven Gutierrez. Probably going to have maybe a little bit higher potential from what I'm seeing here. That 30-point gap is quite large, and so especially if he comes out at the high end of those ranges, he's going to be really, really good. Pablo Jimenez is somebody that if I could guarantee he would be there with our second pick, I'd probably take Ray McCallum, because then we could get the power that we want at first base while getting, the fielding shortstop. We could get two of the things I want the very most in this class with our first two picks. A future ace level pitcher is also on my needs list, and I feel like the second round is a good spot for that. But honestly, if I could guarantee Pablo Jimenez to be available with that 37th, I think, maybe 38th pick, I would take Ray McCallum and then Pablo Jimenez, and then just hope for a pitcher in a future year. So those are kind of the options that I'm going through for the first couple of rounds. Start looking at options later. And this is a closer, William Koo, that we discovered. We'll be scouting him this last week. Andreas Ornelas is also a very highly thought of closing pitcher that we discovered. These are players that I'd be very happy to take. I think some more high-end bullpen arms is certainly something that I would like to get. It is one of the things on my list as well. Juan Sixto also fits that bill. Another guy that we discovered that our scouts have as a top 50 player in the prospect in the draft. Round 3 is kind of when I'm going to start considering this type of player. That's a 20-point gap. That's pretty good. Floyd Sable is maybe more of like a low floor, high ceiling kind of pitcher. You know, in the later rounds is definitely where you start to consider him. I have him atop of kind of my round 4 board. Stanley Carlton, excuse me. A third baseman with some good fielding potential. I have him in that same range as well. Not going to start out very well. Probably only going to be B potential at maximum. But I would definitely take a shot on this skill set just to get another fielder. Because I think we could use another guy who's good at fielding in the infield for sure. Probably would maybe slide him over to first or second base. Although fielding at third base is also very important. Andres Rodriguez here looks to project to be maybe more of a high floor, low ceiling kind of pitcher. Getting a guy who could maybe be good soon is something that could be beneficial to the squad. That is not Greg Stevenson. He's more, again, of the maybe betting on high B, low A potential, but a guy who's going to take several years to get there. That's more of a late in the draft kind of player for me. Wouldn't mind taking a swing on him and then just seeing if he can develop from that low overall in the later rounds. So I don't super love our chances to get really good players outside of maybe round 3. I think our first 3 picks are going to all be really solid. After that, it's kind of a crapshoot, but that's often how it is. There's guys that you don't have scouted as much. It's really kind of just, for me at least, with the way I do my scouting. Showed that in a scouting and tips and tricks video earlier. But that's just kind of how the draft often goes in MLB the Show 23. Regardless, I am very excited for what we're going to be able to do in this draft. I hope you are too. But that is all I have for this episode. Draft coming up soon, and I will see you then.